Alright, hello everyone, it's silverkyle, and today we are going to be talking about Marvel Omnibus, which is usually a very exciting topic for me. If you've been watching the channel for the past year or so, you can clearly tell that I am a massive Marvel fan in terms of Omnibus. I'm a major fan of DC as well, but they don't pump out nearly as many Omnibus as Marvel does. It's crazy the difference between the two companies. And that's a separate video that I'm going to be talking about in a while, because we've been getting so many reprints and so many new Omnibus that it's freaking awesome. But it's costing the wallet quite a bit. Anyway, massive fan of Marvel Omnibus, but I saw a video today on Near Mint Condition where Omar was talking about the Fantastic Four Volume 2 reprint that we're getting this month, and specifically the spine. Now, we saw this with the Defenders, so that's the version that I'm going to be showing you here, but I just want to go over this because it's such unfortunate news, and I don't know what Marvel is thinking. There's just a few options of what they could possibly do. I'm really hoping that they go with option 2 and 3. So let's just go over a regular omnibus from the Silver Age. So X-Men, I guess this is more so. Anyway, an older Marvel book this is from the 70s. And what they do with the spine is that they go with this kind of a font, volume 1 at the bottom, very basic, but it's clean. All of the omnibus like this from that era look like this. They have the Marvel Omnibus logo at the top, very basic font for the actual writing, and then whatever volume it might be. Now, what they've done with the Defenders, and also what they've done with Fantastic Four Volume 2, the reprint, is they're changing the font to something extremely small now, and they're adding still the Marvel logo at the top for Omnibus. Obviously, that's not going to change, other than the Venom Omnibus. Now, for the Venom Omnibus, I think that's excellent. I think that's hilarious, and I love that they changed it at the top. That's something completely different, but changing the font here and adding this little picture at the bottom will completely change the look on the shelf. So you might have, for example, sometimes you were lucky enough that you were able to get volume 1 like this, right? And then you have volume 2, which is a reprint, and then you were able to get volume 3 or something like that, and it's going to be back to this one. So it's going to be like a complete mess and nightmare, in my opinion, specifically when you're looking at volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, and etc., for which ones that are old and the new ones. Yeah. Like, that, to me, just looks horrible. Now, it's not a big deal for modern books, because modern books, usually what they do, once you hit the 90s, what they end up doing is it's usually artwork. So then you have, a bunch of things from, you're basically going like this, is what it would look like. So you'd have the old style, and then eventually you get all the colorful stuff. But then you would have every modern book like that. So you'd always start with, potentially, the older font and title, and then into the new stuff. But now we're going to have a new one that, to me, just looks like an eyesore. Why would you, for one, how is this an improvement? If it was the other way around and the font was bigger, that would make a little bit more sense. This is horrible. This doesn't bother me as much, but it does still kind of, especially if you're going to have the volumes 1 and 3 that are old, and then the new copy in the middle, and it looks like that. That's just such an eyesore. And what's unfortunate is that the market for Omnibus is usually collectors. It's people that obviously enjoy these things, but they also like to collect them. So that means that we like to put things on our shelves. We care about physical media. And you're alienating them by doing this because they want to show it off on the shelf, and you're making it look so, like, I'm taking a wild leap here, but I'm probably fairly certain that most collectors have a little bit of OCD. There's a reason, there's a method to their madness of why they're collecting this and want to show it on the shelf. And something that really pops out and does not look like the others is going to bother them. It makes me so sad. Now, there's obviously a few things that Marvel can do. One of them is they just keep, going with this, and they continue making every new copy that they make from the old stuff, this font with the small font, with the picture at the bottom, and they just ignore basically what people are thinking. And then we just have a bunch of weird looking omnibus to a degree when you look at the spines all together. The other option is that they stop doing that, and then there's only a few copies out in circulation, a few thousand omnibus that have this, or however many it would be. And then unfortunately, then it's either, do we double dip, and that's That's the whole thing. Do we double dip on these books to get the proper one when they reprint it in a few years from now? Because some of us might be tempted to do that. I personally have no idea. Like, try to sell this off and try to get the new version afterwards in a few years from now. Depends on what I'm doing at the time. Or the best option would be that Marvel says, you know, we made an error. If you can prove that you've purchased this book and any other book that has this font, you can send in the receipt or whatever, and then we'll mail you the actual proper dust jacket. That would be amazing. I don't think that that's actually where we're going to get. What I think will happen is either option 1 or 2. I'm really hoping that option 2, where they decide to stop making these, kind of happens. On the other hand, though, for some people out there that can make dust jackets, this is a perfect time to really, you know, use your business skills and make a bunch, you know, see if you make one and if anybody bites, or have that as an option. Go onto Omnibus forums and say, hey, I can fix this. If you want, you can pay me and I will correct this for you. There's a side hustle on the side for everybody at this point in time for that. So a lot of views. I'm sad. I hope that Marvel fixes this. Either with option 3 is the best. Option 2 I would still take. I just don't want to have a bunch of omnibus that are all kind of mix matching. It's you know, this is my passion, and I really hope that it gets corrected, because it's a hard passion to like and enjoy. It's also a first world problem, but that's the point of YouTube. So thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all of this, and we'll talk to you all next time. You've been bearded in. Beardage.